Guys, what's up? My name is Anthony, and welcome to another edition of BNA Sports Talk. And today, what I want to talk about is the Washington football team. I kind of mentioned it in yesterday's video. I'm like, what does Washington do from here? So they have Alex Smith on the roster. They also have that irrelevant backup. If he ends up being good for him. I haven't done much scouting on him. Don't know much about him, and I don't think he's going to be the next Tom Brady. Let's just say that. But maybe, you never know. But as far as Alex Smith, he's had 15 games started for Washington so far. He's been injured, obviously that big injury, and he has half a calf. Obviously, he's not going to be a long-term solution for this team. Still under contract for 2 more years. Next year, they can cut him and save $14.7 million. He'll be an $8.5 million cap hit. But as far as what he's done so far, 3,600 yards, so add a couple more to that, 3,800 yards in a full season, 14 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, which isn't sexy whatsoever. 66% completion percentage, so he is distributing the ball to their playmakers. And he is, again, 10-5, if I didn't say that already. So he has them as a playoff team. When he's quarterbacking Washington, he's a playoff team, and that's exactly what he was at Kansas City. But we all know the whole story with Kansas City trading up, getting Patrick Mahomes at the 10th overall spot. Now Washington will have the 10th overall pick. Around there. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think Jalen Hurts is going to lead the Eagles to beating them. And they don't really care about a draft spot because they're not really drafting a quarterback, and the draft is a crapshoot. Anyway, you're feeling like Washington is on the downward trajectory, especially after the loss with the Carolina Panthers and Dwayne Haskins. I talked about Dwayne Haskins yesterday, and it is a sad story, but you have to move on. Let's talk about what quarterbacks they can get next. Overall, you kind of want to pick guys late in the draft. Every other year, people say, okay, every single year you need to draft a running back. You need to draft a quarterback. If you go by the saying every single draft, you're basically just drafting on position, not who's the best player available. You draft best player available. Maybe every other year you draft a quarterback just as a safety net, just the guys you can develop. And then eventually, like with the Eagles, if your quarterback struggles, they can eventually take over their job. But free agents, just pure free agents. One, Dak Prescott. He's the big commodity. He's going to re-sign with the Dallas Cowboys, I think. Andy Dalton is a free agent. I don't think he's going to re-sign with the Cowboys. I think he should. I think they should kind of go with Andy Dalton moving forward because he still has a little bit left in him, and then kind of draft a development guy. But I think that they're going to end up sticking with Dak Prescott. That's just the way I think it's going to be. So let's just assume that's going to be it. I don't think that Andy Dalton's going to join the Washington, but that's a great option. That's a great option. We see what the offense, what he can do. He's an Alex Smith, just with a better arm, and he's healthier. He's never been injured his entire career. And he just kind of ran its course with the Bengals. They didn't have a good roster. But Washington has a good roster. We'll get more into that a little bit later. As far as other guys, Cam Newton. We kind of see the writing on the wall. Ron Rivera, he passed on him this offseason. I don't see him doing that again. Kyle Allen will also be a free agent. He's going to be injured, but Ron Rivera seems to love Kyle Allen for some reason. I think it was more of a hating Dwayne Haskins rather than a liking a Kyle Allen. And then you can start getting to the guys like the Brandon Allens of the world. He showed some flashes with the Washington football team. I mean, the Washington football team, the Cincinnati football team. That's not that bad. Brandon Allen, he's a capable backup. He did challenge against the Giants. The Giants had a good defense, and he did lead Bengals to the win over the Texans, which they don't have a good defense. But Brandon Allen is capable. He has some flaws, we all know, but he is capable. And then you can go after a retread. You can go after a Sam Darnold. That would be a pretty solid option if the Jets decide to get rid of him. Still developing. The thing is, Washington doesn't really do a good job with developing quarterbacks. Every single quarterback that they bring in, RG3, with Dwayne Haskins, don't do a good job developing. Sometimes it's a personality issue, some flaws with a certain player, but they haven't done a good job. I think you bring in a veteran guy that you think could take this team to the next step. As far as the draft, they're going to pick around 10. I think there are going to be a lot of teams like the Patriots, the 49ers are going to be willing to trade up for a quarterback. I don't think there's going to be great value. Zach Wilson, I think he's too small to play in the NFL. You have also Kyle Trask, Mac Jones. I think they're more second, third round prospects for that type of value. And then who else? Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields. They're going to be gone by then. Trevor Lawrence may drop a little bit, I think. No, just kidding. Obviously, I'm joking. But, okay, so as far as overall with the roster, I said earlier in the video, cut Alex Smith, save $14.7 million. With that money, you re-sign Brandon Sheriff, or just sign Brandon Sheriff because he's on the franchise tag this year. Get him for $16-17 million a year, and that basically just pays for the contract for the next couple of years. That's a good option. They have $48 million to spend now. They have an overall solid roster. Cornerbacks, you can always get more depth there. Maybe spend on a guy like a high-priced free agent like, what's the guy's name out of Cincinnati? William Jackson, maybe him. Maybe sign him to a decent deal. As far as safety, you have Landon Collins coming back. You also have some young talent that you drafted over the past couple of rounds. Linebacking core, Kevin Pierre-Louis took a step back. You can also look at some linebackers in the draft or in free agency. But I think that's where the value is going to be. Matthew Stafford, surround him with a team. And then, especially, Lions have had a good offensive line over the past couple of years, but they haven't had a run game. The Redskins, where Washington has a run game. They have Antonio Gibson injured. They brought in J.D. McKissick, some other guys like that. I think there might be a 1 or 2 year deals, but re-sign those guys. And basically, they'll re-sign if it's Matthew Stafford. If Matthew Stafford, like, okay, we'll re-sign. Thing is, Lions are just inconsistent run game. Kerryon Johnson always injured out. DeAndre Swift dropping wide open touchdown passes. If you have a competent coach with Matthew Stafford, he's going to want to join. Give them a second, a third, and maybe even a 4th round pick. And with that 10th overall spot, I think that the Washington football team should draft Alex Leatherwood. Now, I've done limited research. I haven't watched the film, but you take a look at Alabama offensive tackles lately. Jedrick Wills and what's the other guy? Jonah Williams. Fairly good. Alex Leatherwood, he's kind of like a Brandon Sheriff. He's very physical, like a guard, but he's a tackle. So that's a little bit of a problem, but calm him down a little bit. Settle him in. Morgan Moses is not the deal. The problem with this team has been, offensive line. They have had to get the ball out really quickly. They haven't really been able to get late developing routes. They have wide receivers now. Cam Sims, he's not the fastest guy in the world, not the best route runner from what I've seen. I haven't really listened to a bunch of people. From what I see, he's not the greatest route runner, but he can catch those 50-50 balls. You have a football team back there. You have a basketball team back there, basically, with your wide receiver core. You have Terry McLaurin, who's a good, crisp route runner. Get up and catch those, 50-50 balls as well. But he's a speedster, injured, but he's doing well. The thing is, you need another wide receiver. You got to hope that a Robert Foster, a Steve Sims Jr., or a, what's the other guy's name? There's one guy I'm missing. Antonio Gandy Golden. Yeah, the one of them develops, and you have 3 wide receivers plus a tight end. All of a sudden, you're looking at a great offense with a Matthew Stafford. I don't know how he plays against the rest of the NFC East. I don't think it has to do with anything. But you have Ron Rivera. You have a veteran quarterback who still has a couple years behind him. The thing is, you got to protect him. Matthew Stafford's been injured. He's a little bit injury prone now. He's stuck in there. He's played the games where he's been hurt, but he had that back problem last year. He's had the thumb. And I forgot what he was dealing with over the past couple of weeks. I think it was his back again. But yeah, so that's my solution. That's my solution for the Washington football team. Get Matthew Stafford. Screw the developing guys. You have a roster that's pretty capable to win. You have a defensive line with Chase Young. I didn't even mention that. You have an elite defensive line that's kind of gathering momentum here. You have a defense that's ready to compete. Put a quarterback that's ready to compete in there. Washington football team. Get Matthew Stafford. Or don't. Please don't, because that would hurt my Giants a lot. It would really hurt them in this division. I think that would make the football team successful for the next couple of years. And maybe he can help getting them a new name. And hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.